Good morning. Yes, we couldn't go to sleep because you were all partying last night. So let's try that one more time. Good morning. Awesome. Doesn't that feel better? Yes or no? Right? It feels so good. My favorite time of the day is the morning. And I know, no matter where I am in the world, it really is. But here's the deal. I want to talk with you guys. First of all, I'm honored to be here. Can we give the staff a huge hand for the amazing job that they've done, the production and everything that's here? You guys can actually do better than that, so I'm going to ask you to do better than that. Can you give them a huge ovation? And I say that to you with all due respect. Do you mind if I really challenge you this morning? How many of you came here to be comfortable? How many of you came here to be pushed? And also to be pulled at the same time? How many of you would agree? How many of you have these stories really pulled you to go, oh my God, I want some of that? How many of you have felt that so far? Raise your hand. And so also it's our responsibility to also push you to some places that you've never been. So I've got lots of props up here. I'm going to start first by sharing, you heard a little bit about Celine talking about I said no to the business for 17 years. Can you imagine that? But let me share a little bit of the story with you. Back in 1989, don't tell me you weren't born yet, I was living in Southern California, and I was working 4 jobs basically to stay above ground, because that's how many jobs you need still today, maybe 5 in Southern California. And I was working 4 jobs. I was working the job that I thought that I always wanted to have, right? I was the winner circle girl at the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club. It's kind of like being at the Melbourne Cup and being the winner circle girl. And I was there, and I was like, this is it? Everybody ever had that happen? I think someone shared it yesterday, one of the NMD speeches, like, this is it? This is what I've been working so hard for? Who's experienced that before? And I was missing a huge part. It was super important to me, and that was the part of contribution. So anyway, my friend, Steve Sherman, came and he shared with me a water filter in 1989. And he said, look, there's this water filter by a company called NSA. Anybody know who NSA is? And so he said, try this water filter, and then you're going to keep it for a week, and if you don't like it, then you can give it back to me. Well, I love the water filter. And so he came to get it, and of course, I didn't want to give it back. And so I started sharing with this water filter, telling everybody to go see my friend Steve. He never told me about the business. He goes, look, there's this conference in Memphis, Tennessee. Why don't you come? There's going to be lots of guys there. I was 20-something. I'm like, lots of guys. Cool, that sounds good. And he goes, it's going to be a really fun party. Why don't you just come? So I'm like, great, I'll come. And so I went to this party, met some really awesome people there. A guy named Jeff Roberti I met at that conference. And they said, why don't you just come in? Because there's the seminar the next day. And I was sitting there. This is my journal. You're looking at my dated journal right here. This is my journal from that event. And I looked at my friend, and I'm like, you didn't tell me there was a business. You didn't tell me? You knew that I was working 4 jobs, and you didn't share that with me? So here's from December 19th, 1990. And I took notes like crazy. NSA plans, financially make $5,000 a month consistently. How? Build a strong, committed, educated team consistently, committed to team meetings and group events and a business plan to stay in San Diego after I've developed my organization. Why? Because I love the people, the group dynamics, the products, the incentives, the best support, expansion, people developing and following through with results. The environment is amazing, the opportunities to do trainings, to develop strong public speaking skills, the opportunity to share results, to be a national marketing director by March in Phoenix. And you know what I did? Oh, and then I had contribution. And you know what I did? Nothing. And so I'm sharing this with you as hopefully you guys go, what the amazing opportunity and the mission that we have is in front of us. Amen. That's right. That's what I say. And you know, as real as we want to say that it is, unfortunately, some of you are going to walk out of here. I've worked for Tony Robbins for the past 29 years since then. I went and I was like, I got to go and do a job, or I got to go do this and that. And I went back to, we talk a lot about that feeling of certainty. I needed some certainty in my life, and I wasn't willing to take the risk. But there was this little angel sitting on my shoulder. His name was Jeff Roberti. I'm also known as the ocean of emotion, if you're curious. And this little angel sat on my shoulder, and any time that I would see him, he would always say, how you doing? How's it going? What's happening in life? And he was the master and still is the master of relationships. He understands the power of taking care of people for no other reason than that's the right thing to do. You know, there's only 2 reasons that we're here on this earth. Did you know that? 2. You know what they are? To love and be loved. That's it. At the end of your life, all you're going to be asked, I heard this from, what's his name? Richard Bach. I remember once hearing, you know who Richard Bach is? He wrote Jonathan Livingston Seagull. And he said, at the end of your life, the only thing that you're going to be asked is, how much did you love? How much did you love? How much did you love the good times, the bad times, right? How much did you truly love? So I'm about to share something with you. You might have seen it before. You might not have seen it before. But the reason I'm sharing it with you, because you talk about commitment, resilience from so many people here in this room. Why do I show that to you? You know, when there's a reason why I showed it to you. It's not for me, it's for you. Couple reasons. One, yesterday when Peter talked, and I definitely don't look like that photo, my glam shot now, but when Peter showed the photo of 2010 when the office was opening, I came over here, and it was the worst time of my life. I did not have the money to come over here at that time. I'm from Las Vegas. Well, I live in Las Vegas. We went through a recession. I don't know if you guys went through a recession. Had the house, had the everything. That was, I think, March 2010. And I just played, you know. I just played as if everything was okay. But I showed up. It's not always going to be perfect, you guys. It's not. You know, that year, 2010, just a couple months later, I went through a divorce. I lost my $1 million home. I went through all my savings, but I still showed up because I had a team that were counting on me. I had a team that were counting on me to show up no matter what life throws at you. So when I saw that, you know, it really took me to a place that I realized that how important it is to get in line and stay in line. I think so many times we let things just take us out of line because it's just not convenient at the time. I don't have the time. I don't know. I don't really, you know, I just can't do it right now. We don't really see what this could do for you and others. But you have a responsibility. How many of you have someone that's on your team? Raise your hand. Yeah. You have a responsibility. That video right there April 2014. You saw Linda in that video. You saw Christine in that video. You saw Fee in that video. And you saw Joss in that video. Do you know who signed up? May 2014. Because someone named Linda understood the value of relationships. May 2014, Adam signed up. Is that pretty cool? Yes or no? Then guess what happened that next time? Adam, where's Loren Berry? Loren Berry signed up. Then the man who's been keeping me going for years without even knowing it, Loren, showed up. And Loren sent me a text that changed my life, that made me realize no matter how hard it gets, I have a responsibility. No matter how many amazing things that might show up that look like those shiny pennies, he's kept me in the game. Thank you, yes. Did you like my makeup when I came out at first? Because it's all gone now. And we were at a 39 club retreat. We weren't supposed to have our phones in the spa. But I did, because I'm a rebel. And I got this text. And it says, "Hey, Loren, I just wanted to thank you for being a part of bringing JP into my life. I can't believe how good my life is right now. It literally blows my mind to think about life would be like in 12 months. My business is exploding every day, every month. It's growing like crazy. I've never felt so passionate about anything in my life. And I have all the certainty that this will be the vehicle that brings sustainable wealth and abundance that I've worked for so hard my whole life." Sorry, I need some glasses. "When I realize the results I get, I'm really, really motivated. I could tell you, I've upped my NMD to 24 club goal to NMD 100 club. And I know that I was born to do this business. I'm in my element, and I'm only just getting into my groove. From the top of my heart, thank you so much. I'm grateful for this opportunity to change my life forever and the people around me. I can't wait to celebrate with you." And he's just went 100 club. Can we give him a huge... Come on, guys. Come on, give him a huge hand. And he's going to be a daddy. I didn't know Loren. I didn't know that it was going to make an impact on his life. I didn't even know him. Adam did. Adam had an amazing relationship. Are you crying? You want some Kleenex too? That's why we do what we do. If you think that this is an opportunity, you are so wrong. This is a responsibility. And if you don't walk out of this room today knowing in your heart that this is a responsibility, you're in the wrong room. This is what this is about. This is about changing people's lives. So before we go any further, I'd like for you to do something. I'd like for you to think about someone who might not even be here right now, but because of that person, you're here. Maybe they're watching your kids. Maybe they're watching your dogs. Maybe they told you, maybe they're not here in the business now, but they just introduced you to the business. You know who I always send my first one to? Who I'm getting ready to send mine to? You ready? Steve Sherman. I love sending to say thank you. Thank you for reminding me, right? Thank you for reminding me always to share. For me, I am just as passionate about this mission. And I don't say business, I say mission, because this is a mission. We are a mission-driven company. You don't see it through what you're doing here with the organization that all of you guys are doing here with Nutrition Plus. That's a mission. How many of you would agree? So grab your phone real quick and send a text to 2 or 3 people, or let's say 2, 1 or 2 people, that because of them, you're here in this room. Maybe they're watching your kids. What are they doing? Just send them a text. And I'll tell you this. Here's my job. My job is to wake you up, but to keep you awake. Because so many people, I say, basically fall asleep at the wheel of life. Right? They're like, yeah, I feel good. I'm rocking. I'm going to go out there and change the world. And then when someone says what? No. And then what do? They fall back asleep. Or they'll wake up. They're like ready to do this. And they're like calling their upline. They're checking in with their team. They're doing this. And then they get tired. It's kind of like going to a restaurant. Anybody ever been to a restaurant? And you're like, oh, my God, that was so good. Who's ever been to a restaurant and felt that way? Raise your hand. We've all been there. And then what happens? You go, oh my gosh, I wonder if that was a really great restaurant. I'm going to go back tomorrow and make sure it wasn't just that I was starving and that's why the food was good. And you go back to the restaurant and they're closed. And you go, what? What's up with that? And then they go, gosh, well, I'm going to go back tomorrow. And they go back the next day and they go, sorry, we're open till 11. You'll have to come back. And they're like, what? And then they're like, okay, we're going to try this one more time. And they go back and they find out, that the restaurant's open. That's how people live their life. They wake up, they're on fire, And then what happens? Someone like upsets them, I'm closed. True? Or they were open till 11. And people don't know if they can count on you. They need to know that you're open every single day. So that's why even what Simon says about consistency with your posts, consistency with what you're doing, that's called being open every single day. You know, there's another person I need to thank in this room. So you got to stay a little bit longer, Lindy. And I'm going to talk about Lindy, she has been open every single day. She is there for you guys all the time. Can you give her a huge hand? Don't leave. You got to stay there. Come on, guys. Give Lindy a huge ovation. Come on, guys. Through the hard times. She's like, Loren, she still has a hard time with me, but that's okay. I'm here to keep her awake. But it hadn't been easy, has it, Lindy? It hasn't been easy. She's been, in the times when they didn't even know what was going to happen here in Australia. And Lindy's been open all the time. And I'm talking calling her from the United States at times when she was like, I know she didn't want to be open, but she was. That's what people are counting on you for. It's kind of like being a parent, right? Are there times that it's not going to be so great? Do you just go figure it out? Do you say that to your little ones? Or are you open? Did you see that? Holy doggies, the ball dropped. Who's had the ball drop? What happened? Somebody cancel an order. Someone says no. Someone falls out of the business. You want to know something interesting? You saw that video? You saw those NMDs? You saw those people that got our team to 100 Club? Guess what? The ball dropped on some of them. Some of them let the villains show up. Lots of times people think that I always dress up as Catwoman. I was going to wear it, and then I got as close as I could. And everybody's like, Catwoman? She's not a superhero. I'm like, really? She's not? Because for me, what Catwoman represents is caring, authenticity, and tenacity. But what villains have you let show up in your life? What villains? The excuses? Is it the excuses? There's not enough time. There's not enough money. This won't work for me. What villains have you let take over your dream? You can grab a seat if you want, or you could tell somebody. Tell them the villains. Tell them real quick. Tell them some of the villains that you've let take over. Tell them what are some of the villains real quick? And then think about for you. When is the ball dropped? I don't have the time. I just had a baby. Freaking come on, Alex Matthews, come on. 5 kids? Alex and Ben? 5 kids in New Zealand, and all these amazing people where people said it was never going to work. 5 kids? Did she have an opportunity to just make up some excuses? Did she? Did they have an opportunity? They had an opportunity, but they decided, no, this isn't what it's about. Here's what I'll share with you. Anybody been to Israel before? Anybody been to Israel? There's a lot of misconceptions about Israel and the wall. You've heard about the wall. Anybody know about the Wailing Wall? And the Wailing Wall goes a lot further. It actually used to surround all of Israel. It used to protect Jerusalem, right? Do you know how many times the wall was built and destroyed? So what would happen? It'd get destroyed, and guess what people do? Got to protect Jerusalem, build the wall up again. Wall's destroyed again, build the wall up again. 17 times. How many of you, one distributor leaves, one customer leaves, and your wall is all gone, and it is not coming back? How many of you have decided that before? It's too hard. It hasn't happened, right? But the difference between whether or not you get back up again or if you stay down there on the ground, it all is you. You're the difference. Your beliefs. No matter how you dress it up and try to make it all fancy, it all comes back to your beliefs. And what's the truth about who you are and what you stand for? What do you believe about yourself? I believe I'm Catwoman as being caring, authentic, have tenacity, and I'm going for it and nobody's stopping me. And I might look like the villain for somebody, right? Some of us look like the villain. Why is that? Maybe because you have things that they don't have. What is it? But it's your beliefs to decide. If you've heard it said before, if you believe it is right or you believe you're right, right? So what truly are your beliefs that you believe about it? Because you are the difference. The thing that'll kill everything is when you start comparing yourself to other people. I done it, and I realized what happened in my head, and I started getting some stinking thinking. Who's had some stinking thinking before? I can't do this. I'm not this and that. I'm just going to be super honest with you here, and I actually haven't shared this, I don't think, anywhere. I got really, really, really cocky when Europe was going. I went over to Europe. Everybody's like, don't go over to Europe, Loren. Nothing's happening in Europe. Don't go over there. Well, I'm going over there because I thought I want to build where I have friends. So I wanted to build in Australia because I was like, if I could build in places that I loved and loved the people over there, why wouldn't I go there? So I started looking at the countries that we were in. I'm like, I have friends in Europe. I have friends in, Australia. This is going to be awesome. This is going to be so much fun. So I go over there, and I do a meeting with a couple of the NMDs who've been around for a long time. And I started calling some friends of mine, and lots of them were saying no, and lots of them were like, this isn't the time. And then my friend Susie Mitchell, some of you might know Susie, her son Simon Mitchell. Anybody know Susie? And I went over there, I went there, and then I came back, and we were at this event, and she goes, how come you haven't asked me to join your Juice Plus business? And I'm like, you want to join? She's like, yes. And I'm like, really? That was it? That's pretty cool. And she became the first NMD on her team. So we're at a conference in Rome, about 500 people in the room, and I was the you-know-what. I'm like, yeah, half this room is mine, so cool, so great, awesome, right? 7 NMDs walk the stage with 500 people in there. I'm like, the coolest. And then this little guy comes up to me, he's kind of like this. He was an SC with his friend. He goes, so what are you guys doing, to be so successful in your business? Oh, I'm like, that's so easy. And I'm telling him everything to do and blah, blah, blah. And then you know who that was? John Holowati. And guess what happened? All my team started doing what? Comparing themselves. We're not young. We're not this. We're in our 50s. We don't do this. It's all the new movement. And guess what they started to do? Make up those excuses of why it was going to work. Why it was going. The thing you must do is you must stop comparing yourself to other people. And the other thing we always talk about, I just got back from the summit that we did in Huntington Beach. And I shared a little bit about vision. We all talk about vision, but let's just be honest, guys. The great book says it. You know the great book? That book that's been around for thousands of years? Without vision, people what? Without vision, people perish. You have to learn how to create your vision. You think Walt Disney, he decided, I'm going to do an amusement park for people to have fun. First of all, I think you guys were Walt Disney last night with that party. Can we give these guys a hand about the party that was boom, 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 right? Vision, does that create big vision? Let me tell you about that party like that. That's what Cheryl and Jeff did for me. When I went to my first conference, they had me show up at this party, this lady named Chris Drobes. And I'm like, what was that thing, that party thing? And they go, oh, that's what, when you reach 100 Club, you probably throw a party. I'm like, I'm 100 Club, right? I want to throw a party like that. How many of you felt that way that are part of these guys' team after that party last night, you're like, I'm going to throw a freaking party like that? Only a few of you? Seriously? How many of you would like to throw a big-ass party for all your friends? That's the vision that you hold. Your vision's got to create something that people are like, oh, I want that. That's what Disney did. So I'd like for you to stand up real quick. And make sure that when we do this that you hit the partner, the person beside you. Here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna stand with your feet forward, and all you're gonna do is you're gonna move your hand. You're gonna put your finger out in front of you, and all you're gonna do is you're gonna go to the right as far as you can without moving your hips, just your finger. One, two, and your hand, whatever this thing is, this arm. Yeah, okay, so as far as you can, 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, now, something different. Because you can put a vision out there, right? You can attend and intend, but if you don't get off your ass and do something, it doesn't matter. True? So vision is important. So for me, this is over the years for me. But for me, when I look at this, I think of who do I need to become? Who do I need to become in my health, in my relationships, in all these different areas of my life? Who do I need to become? So let me show you that one. Do you see that one where it says rock right there and there's like a piece cut out? Who sees that one? That one at the top? Let me tell you what year that was. That year was 2010. And I go, I have no idea how I want to be seen in the world. I've lost everything. I don't know this and that. And I realized for myself, I bought into the story. And you know what happened? My dog Buddy decided to rip it off for me and gave me a wake-up call to look at and go, you know what, Loren? It's time to get serious. It's the truth. It's the truth. This is what happened in 2010. I started buying into the story of why it wasn't going to work, why this is hard. My, pay was consistent. I'm like, when the heck is it going to go up? When's it going to go up, right? And then one time when it was November 2013, I called Cheryl, and I go, Cheryl, there must be a mistake in my check. She goes, what happened? I go, it went up 50%. She goes, you hit liftoff, baby, right? So that was, even before things started, that was when the Europe thing was happening. So, but I decided to really recommit and think, who do I need to show up in my health, in my relationships? So I started looking at who do I need to become? And the other thing that was different about this, I don't know if you guys can see it, I started to add names. It wasn't just about me. I started to add names of people that were going to go NMD, people that were going to go a certain club, and I would look at that. Some of them, you can see them over there. And I put those names on there so it didn't just become about me. It became really about this mission, this village together, pulling together. So for you, who do you really need to become? And then you want to go back to really looking at what are your core values? What matter most? All of us have different values. What matters most to us? So, if you look at Juice Plus, you've got the longevity, the authenticity, the quality, the community, the simplicity, the approachability. How many of you saw that yesterday when Paula was sharing with us, right? How many of you were excited about this company when you saw that and how far that they've come? And then, since we're there for the supernova thing, let's talk about the Justice League values, right? So the saving the world can't be done alone. It takes a league. Sounds familiar. The role of a leader comes with huge responsibility. Being rich is similar to having a superpower. After suffering an emotional setback, it's not easy to open up and trust again, but it's the right choice to make. It's called doing the right thing, even if it's the hard thing. There will always be someone who is better than you at some skill. Do not compete. Focus on your strengths. Sound familiar? Sounds like we're the Justice League. Does it not? What superpowers? You heard it yesterday with Lee. She talked about, what did she do? She thought about what were the superpowers that she needed to tap into in order for her to get there. She found mentors. So what are your core values? What do you really, what's most important to you? Really think just for a second, what really matters for you? What's important to you? Is it authenticity? Is it what? Caring? What is it for you? Is it community? Sorry, guys. I had to turn it into a shiro. You want to be your own shiro or hero. So for me, first thing about being that shiro is staying true. For me, I wake up every day and I say to myself, today is going to be the best day of my life again. And I assume that the day is going to be awesome, no matter what's happened. There have been many days that I did not want to do that here because I've had amazing jet lag, right? but I have a responsibility as a superhero, right? To show up. To show up. I've got villains all around me, but I still show up. The other thing that we talk about, I am statements, the two most powerful words you can hear. You've heard it all over the time. None of this is new information. Look, everybody, it's the same information. It's just you're going to hear it differently from somebody else, and it's going to really resonate. So what are your I ams for you that you wake? That's your superpower, you guys. That's your fuel. That's your premium fuel for the day. You know, so for me, I go, I'm loving, I'm honest, I'm compassionate, I'm passionate, I'm full of faith, I'm God's girl, I'm Tomb Raider tight, I'm a sexy salsa dancer, I'm hilarious, right? So I fill myself up, and nobody can take that away from you unless you give it to them. No one. So who have you given that power away to? That's why this is so important. This doesn't have anything to do with anything about how you take your power back. When someone goes, oh, you're going to do that thing, you're going to do that Juice Plus thing. Anybody ever had that happen? Guess what? They come back. I just had one 2 days ago. She's like, I'm ready to get going. I moved to Germany. I need to go do this. 2 days ago, Callie right here started in the business right when I started in the business, right? She started then. She came back because her friend needed to pay her mortgage. And we will always do more for others than we'll ever do for ourselves. And now she's here in Australia building, right? So the second thing is you got to stay hungry. Hunger is when, and I don't even think we get how important hunger is. Hungry, like really hungry. Like, has anybody like been super hungry? Like, I mean, like really hungry, like I am right now. So has anybody ever been really hungry? And someone set this big, beautiful vision to tell you what was possible with this, right? How many of you have a big hunger now just of what you've seen over the past day? How many of you have a big hunger in your belly? Big hunger in your belly. So you've got that. You have this vision of this beautiful meal, right? Being able to retire your spouse, being able to travel, is that big hunger? Yes or no? Yes, so you have that right now. But guess what? Has somebody already have somebody go, oh, that's not possible. And so they give you a potato chip. And then you take that potato chip. That might be going back and like, that's not for you. Not everybody can do it, right? And you start filling up on those potato chips and you forget about that big vision. You've got to stay hungry. You have to stay hungry. And your why is going to change. When I started in this business, you guys, Asher, my daughter who just ran away, she was 3 months old. You know, she was 3 months old. I was working full time. I was on the road. I didn't have time for this. I was working full time for Robbins. And what happened was I was doing these 3 events back to back, and I love what I did. I told you, how many of you love what you do? Maybe with your job. I love what I did. So I was like happy, but I was still living paycheck to paycheck. You know, if I didn't do an event, I didn't get paid. Anybody been there? So my daughter, she was with me. She was 3 months old. The boys, all the money I was making went to pay for the babysitter that was with my boys back in Las Vegas, and the rest of the money went to go take care of Asher. So I've been working these 3 weeks back to back, and I asked these products. I asked Tony to come out with these new products, and asked, well, what can I take because I'm nursing? To the doctor, and she goes, you can't take any of these products. I go, what can I give my kids? And she goes, you can't give your kids any of these products. And I'm like, well, there's no way I'm going to stand in front of the room and say, share something that has contraindications. I'm not going to do it. Well, guess who happened to be at that event? Jeff Roberti, and his Snoopy ears went up, right? And he goes, Loren, and this was after the event was over, he goes, you know you can give your kids Juice Plus. And I was the nutrition. I'm like, oh, God, go with your stupid fruits and vegetables, right? And he goes, look, he goes, just come to our conference and tell me no afterwards. I'm like, Jeff, I don't have time, I don't this, I don't that, blah, blah, blah. And then I had a divine intervention, and my friend Amanda called me, who had lupus, and she had tried everything. And so the phone rings, and then I'm still talking to Jeff, and then the phone rings again. And he goes, just come, Loren. And I'm like, fine, I'll come, but I'm only coming for a day, right? I'm telling Jeff Roberti no, right? And so he goes, what got you to say yes? I go, look, I'm not doing the business. I'm plenty busy. I don't need to do the business. I don't do that. But at least if it helps my friend, then I'm in. So I went to the conference. I sat on the front row, and I took notes like crazy. And I started thinking of who did I know, love, and care about that I would love to be able to work with side by side. Linda and I have had an amazing friendship for years, you know. I called her, and she was living in Las Vegas. I think she got me there because I was living in Portland. I met her 17, 18 years ago, her and James, and I just loved her. I loved her energy. They were just fun to be around. She was pregnant with Sienna. They came over for Thanksgiving. It was just somebody that I just loved. So I started making a list, and that's actually how I grew it. So you got to stay hungry. The other thing is being empathetic to people. And this is a quick skill I will share with you. I learned this at Robbins, so I'm very big in edifying, if you haven't noticed. I want to make sure that I give credit where credit's due. But it's called bend wimp. It's learning. You hear everybody talk. I know that Adam, hopefully I didn't talk about what he's sharing today, but it's all about, and Linda talks about a lot of being a master asker. You got to be understanding. You have to understand what someone believes. You have to understand what they believe about you, what they believe about fruits and vegetables, what they believe. Would that be important to know? Right? B, what do they believe? E is how do they evaluate? They're looking and they're going, do I want some of that? Are they evaluating on the research? Are they evaluating on the results that you've gotten? Are they evaluating, looking to see if people are doing this? How do they evaluate? Judge. People are going to judge. Sorry, it's true. That's why the shred's so important, or whatever programs that you have put together. They want to see results. Evaluate. And what do people need? Do they need to know that the company is going to be around? Do they need to know that they're going to have the support? Do they need to know the corporate's going to be there for them? What do they need? Here's the next one. D, what do people desire? People will always do more for their desires than they'll ever do for their needs. Always. So, do I really need these shoes? Yes, I do. Right? Do I need them? No, but I desire them. Makes me feel good, like the whole thing. So desire, being able to bring my daughter over to Australia, or doing all those things are desires. So what do they desire? Find out what they really, really, really want. And then W, what are their wounds? Their pain. What have they been through? Maybe they, have gone through a divorce. Maybe they've had bad experience with a past company that they've been with. What are their wounds? You should be taking notes right now, because I will tell you, this will change your business. And if Adam and these guys are sitting on the front row taking notes, that might be a clue. I promise you guys, I'm not here for you guys to fall in love with me. Some of you might think I'm a villain right now. I'm just telling you the truth. This is what leadership is about. You got to take notes. You have to. You will forget most of this by the time that you leave if you don't. This one skill here has changed my life because I don't have to use scripts. I'm really understanding people, getting into what they need, what they desire. What are their interests? What do they love to do? I know there's a lot of guys here in the room that love to play golf. I know there's a lot of us in here that we love to shop. I know a lot of us love contribution, right? So what are their interests? Who are their mentors? Who are the people they look up to? And P, this is the big one. What are people proud of? People love to talk about who? Say it, I can't hear you. People love to talk about who? Themselves. Let them talk about themselves. Let them. Here, they're going to tell you everything. When you go back to, and you've got to be empathetic. I will tell you, like I said, 8 years ago now, I didn't have anything. Life was tough. It was really, really tough. And Lindy called me. And Lindy said, like I said, lost our house, was pawning my jewelry. I was trying to send my kids to all the private schools they went to. It was not fun. I paid $50,000 to get out of my house so they wouldn't go on my credit. American Express said, please leave home without us. You should not have an American Express right now. And Lindy called me, and she said, Loren, you might want to call Linda, because I'm not sure if she's going to renew her distributorship or not. It was hard over here then, guys. It was not easy. Was it easy? Was it easy? Not easy. And I'm like, what? She goes, yep, I'm not sure. And this is what Peter was talking about. And I called Linda, and I'm like, come on, why don't you come to conference? Jen's going to be there. Danielle's going to be here. Let's go have some fun. She's like, oh, and I'm like, oh, my God, I don't know about this. And I bought the ticket before American Express said not to leave home. And Linda showed up there, and it was 4 tables for the Australian lunch, 3 or 4 tables. We're sitting around, And we're sitting around there, and we're all sitting there, and Peter stands up. He's not in the room, so I can say it. Leader, look up. Peter says, oh, I can still say it. I was wearing my Catwoman dress then, if you remember. And he goes like this. And I know his intention was good, but what he said, he goes, don't worry, Loren, we'll take care of your orphan, Linda. And I'm like, but he's right, that fired me up and Jeff up. I'm like, Jeff, we're doing whatever it takes, whatever it takes. And Linda looked and she goes, I'm ready. We got ready for the Eltons. She's sitting in the room. Is it okay that I'm sharing this, Linda? She's sitting there. I'm getting ready for the Eltons. My friend Jen, Danielle, she's in the room with them. We were sharing a room, 4 of us. I think one of us might have slept in the bathtub because we didn't have any money. They ordered, I remember this, they ordered 1 item to share because we all didn't have a lot of money. I'm getting ready to go to the Eltons, and Linda made a decision that day. She goes, that's it. I made a decision then. She made a real decision. She says, that's it. I'm never not showing up at those Eltons. And there, her hunger kicked in. I mean, hungry. Another thing, you must be resilient. This lady, her name's Hazel. I met her last year in Dubai. We were opening Dubai. Anybody didn't know that? We opened Dubai. So I go over and I go to the gym, not because I wanted to go to the gym, just because I had jet lag. I'm at the gym, and as I'm there at the gym, Hazel's there, and she starts to do, she's working out, and then we go eat breakfast, and I meet her there, and I'm like, so Hazel, tell me your story. She goes, well, I'm 87, and she goes, and when I was 52, and I'm like, okay, I'm listening, because I was 52 at the time, and she goes, my knees started to crack. And I was like, really? And she goes, yeah. She goes, my knees started to crack, and my son said to me, Mom, look, if all you do is 40 deep knee bends, 40 push-ups, 40 sit-ups every day, by the time you're 80, you'll never have to worry. She goes, I can't even do 1. How many of you have heard this lesson before? We just started talking about this yesterday. Someone said it yesterday, right? He goes, Mom, just get started. You just got to get started. Just like this business, you got to go do that meeting. You got to go do that call. You got to do these things. She goes, on my 80th birthday, I went up to my son and I said, I owe you my life. And he goes, why? She goes, well, you told me to do those deep knee bends, those sit-ups, and those push-ups. So I've done them this whole time. Just like I'm sure your upline has shared with you things to do to be successful in this business. And he goes, yeah. And I went up to her and I go, so Hazel, what are you up to now? She goes, 120 of each day. Are there certain basic things that you need to do every day in this business, yes or no? You know, the last one that I'll share with you is you must stay on purpose. My friend, one of my best friends in the world, my business coach, his name's Philip Vandenbosch. He was head of Madonna's non-for-profits, and he kicks me in the butt all the time. He goes, you're playing so freaking small, it's unbelievable. And I'm like, what? I go, I've done this, I've done that, I've done this, and that, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, you're playing so small. He goes, you, my friend, need to become the Michael Phelps of Juice Plus. I'm like, yeah. He goes, you need to get laser focused. You need to put your goggles on and swim. You need to not just put your foot in when it's convenient, this and that. I'm doing good. You need to get laser focused. Those words changed my life, changed my business. And I literally put my goggles are beside my desk, and I put them on, and for certain hours a day, from 10 to 2, I get laser focused, and I swim. Whatever that it is. No excuses. Everybody knows when to get a hold of me. And I get laser focused. So you got to look and you go, what's your scorecard? What's your scorecard for your life? You know, are you available? How are you with your skills, your presentation skills, your organizational setup? What's your scorecard? If I were to say to you, what does a great person do in this business, would you know what your scorecard is? Or do you even have a scorecard? You can't track what you don't measure. You can't track what you don't measure. You got to know what your scorecard is. Here's a real quick one. We don't have time to go through it, but it's another thing that we've learned is really the power of the leadership wheel. Where are you? All of us need to be good in all these different areas of our life, especially our business. We have to know how to do events, put on events, presentation skills, team building skills, sharing skills, leadership, all the customer care follow-up. I'll do more about that later. But there's a superhero challenge right now. Every superhero needs a mentor. So who's someone that you can look up to, that you can say, hey, you know what, I really relate to you? Because that's what it does. You must be bold. Leadership, mentorship is truly the key to sustainability. Jay did that with Paulo. I don't know if you guys have noticed it. He's groomed him. He's shared with him. He's talked, Jay's an amazing mentor for all of us. But the thing is that he's really helped him to understand what it takes with regards to it. So standards with regards to your life. I'm a little bit behind. I apologize. Servant leadership. I personally believe that there's no other kind of leadership other than servant leadership. That's my personal belief. Real leadership. There might be title leadership where someone gets a position. But like I said, there's a lot of people that went NMD, but they didn't have that servant heart, and they're not in the game anymore because they made it about who? Themselves. What does the Justice League believe? We stand together or we fall apart. You must be willing to be a part of your Justice League. There are personalities that you might not get along with. You might go, oh, God, but you know what? We have a mission that we stand together. I think this is the biggest thing for me. I just got back from a trip. I'm going to go like 5 minutes over. I hope I'm okay. Is it all right if I go 5 minutes over? Come on, give me some love. I apologize because I hate going over. But my son and I, my middle son, I've always wanted to go on a mission trip. And we went for 2 weeks to Vietnam. And we were always told that there were going to be like 10 to 15 people on the mission trip. And we needed to pay we were doing hearing aids. We paid for 2,000 hearing aids. Oh, good, Shani's here. Shani's here. So Shani's a big reason why, we did this. We're going to do one in Sri Lanka because he has an orphanage over there. And so we went over there, and I want you to pick your heart. Is it living on the street? Is it living in a village? Is it, God forbid, something to be sick? Or is it having this amazing opportunity that's in front of us? Shani and his daughter, they just went, there was a woman and she couldn't get clean water to drink. And she was rationing water just so that she could have water to drink. Quinn and I, we went to Vietnam, and we went to 7 different cities. And I told you we were doing 5,000 hearing aids. Well, we thought, there's going to be this huge team that's going to help us put these hearing aids. We're going to be fitters. It's going to be awesome. Quinn's like excited because he's going to take pictures of how pretty Vietnam was and the whole thing, right? And we get there with the team, and they say, guess what? You guys are the only 2 volunteers this trip. We're like, what? Yeah, usually we have 15, but this trip, something happened. The other group had to cancel. I go, what does that mean? She goes, you're going to need to be here at 6 a.m. every morning. We have about 700 people that are showing up every day, and you're going to need to help fit them with their hearing aids. I'm like, what? I'm like, I'm up for it. And we literally, let me tell you something. You better pick your heart. There were people there that drove 7 hours on a scooter. With 6 of them on a scooter, so that their kids could get a $25 hearing aid, so their kids could start to hear again. This lady had never heard in her life. That guy's like, what's up with these crazy people? We worked with people that were Vietnam vets. We were 90, 100-year-old people. We need to treat our business like this, to show up every day. Quinn and I couldn't go, we can't show up today, because guess what? There were 600, 700 people waiting for us to change their life. You got to show up. What's your hard? Picking up the phone is not hard. Getting on a Zoom call is not hard. It is not hard. You need to change what your heart is. That's hard. What excuses are you making up of why this isn't going to work? You got to be we talk about, I want to go back to that one. Yep, the bamboo. This takes time, you guys. It takes time. You must be patiently persistent. You get a bamboo plant, the first year it grows about 1 inch. You keep cheering for it. You're going to find a couple more team, maybe. It's going to grow 1 inch. We're doing this. Another year, the 3rd year, it grows 1 inch. You might just say, I'm going to get me a freaking ficus tree. Or maybe you just decide to go somewhere else or go back to that job, whatever that it is, right? What do? You need to stay in the game. You get in line, stay in line. 4th year, you keep cheering for it. You play Jim Rohn DVDs for it. You do all those things. Tony Robbins cheering for him, whomever. Simon Chan, everybody. Guess what happens? It grows an inch that 4th year. That 5th year, when you nurture it and you really take care of it, guess how much that tree can grow? Up to 100 feet. And that's what happened here. That's what happened here. I was on my way. I'm going to cry. I was on my way to Australia. Well, Linda was putting on the very first 90-day game plan. And she goes, Loren, can you come for a day? I'm like, okay, yay, right? And so I love to get people presents. You know, that's just what I love to do. It's one of my love languages. I go over there, and I had this whole thing full of Legos for the kids, and we were going to meet at the park, and this whole thing, and like these guys and these guys. I was thinking of everybody. And so I had my suitcase, and Linda just fell, and she hurt her shoulder. So James picks me up at the airport. He goes, Linda's so excited to show you our new home. And I'm like, I'm excited to see her. So there's a lady named Wendy Campbell, and she says she built her house out of those travertine tiles, those big tiles. So I walk in the house, and as I walk in, I don't even say hello to Linda. I start looking at these tiles, and Wendy says that these tiles in her house represented each person who had gotten started in the business or on the products. So I walk in the house, and I see that their house is made out of all these tiles. And I walk in, I'm like, holy doggies, this person, and this person, and this person, and this person, and this person. And I'm like, oh my God, it's the same story. So I go to unzip my suitcase to start to give the presents to everybody. And as I start to go into the suitcase, a note falls out. And it's a note from my son. He was 11 years old when I started in this business. He's now 22. He's a qualifying national marketing director. He met his girlfriend through this business. And he comes up and he goes, hey, Mom. He has a team here in Australia, and that's why he's here. Hey, Mom, I just wanted to say how proud I am of you. You have the biggest heart of any person I've ever seen. You do the do. I know you're and you know I'm always watching, always learning that extra 10% you give to everyone is everything. It does make the difference. You make our, whatever, yeah. I love you, Joss. How many of you want to get a note like that from your kid? So I'd like for you, we're going to end right now. Apologize for being late. I want you to stand up. Has this been helpful? I want you right now to close your eyes, and I want you to really think about, what if I was right? What if you really were the difference that made the difference?